Hey guys, today we have decided to do something a little bit different, and we're going to do a sit-down video that is a Disney tag. Now, there are several Disney tags that are actually out there on YouTube, but I just picked one of them. One that has a little bit more to do with like the parks and stuff, since we just recently went. And so it is about 18 questions, it looks like, and we're just going to answer them together. All right? You ready?
Yes.
Don't seem too excited, okay? I mean, it is Disney.
I'm just not used to the camera being on me. Go.
All right. The first question is, what was your first time at Disney World? So I'm going to answer first. My very first time at Disney, I don't remember whatsoever. I grew up in Kissimmee, Florida until I was 5 years old. We moved to Alabama. And so I'm going to say the first time that I remember is when we went back whenever I was about 7 or 8 years old. And did all the parks and stuff then, because that's the time I remember. I specifically remember us all going as a family, us meeting our other family that lived there, and having fun. I know I went before that, but I don't fully remember. What about you?
We went when Ed passed away.
Yeah, so his first time was as an adult. So how old were you at the time?
Late 20s.
Yeah.
I'd say maybe 27.
Yeah, he never went as a child. But yeah, it was a few years ago now. I believe it was 3 years ago now. And we were going down to Florida because my biological father passed away, and we were having to do things as far as that goes. And he was basically like, "What can we do to take your mind off this?" And I was like, "Well, we could go to Disney." And so we went to Disney. Tell them the story.
Okay, so whenever they, the cast members or whatever they're called, they're cast members.
Yeah,
right?
Cast members.
All right, whenever they see you, they say, what are you celebrating, that kind of thing. Because they want to give you a button, I guess, or whatever. And, we just gotten rid of the boo-hoos and such because it is a sad time and such. And, what are you celebrating? And she says, my father's funeral, and the poor guy is just like, I was not trained for this. And I said, just say you're sorry for your loss and move on with life. It isn't like this is going to happen another time while you work here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure he was there with the Disney College program or something. He gave us some stickers and
sent us on the way.
And we went away. So that was your first time. All right, the next question is your favorite park. You want to answer first this time? What your favorite park is?
So it depends on what you're wanting to do. I like Animal Kingdom because when I was growing up, I watched more shows dealing with the animal stories than the actual, the other characters. But as an adult, I really like Epcot because you can snack around the world, which is really fun.
Yeah, whenever we went on our honeymoon, it was they had the holiday kitchens in each area, and they had the special little passports for it and stuff too. And we basically had a meal in each of the little sections, except for maybe 2 or 3. I think that by the time we got to those, we were just I'm not feeling anything on this particular menu, so
yeah,
we skipped a few. But
well, it's just one of those. I wouldn't mind trying this, but not tonight, and it just never got around to happening.
Yeah. If I were to say my favorite park, I think that I would have to say the Magic Kingdom, only because if I'm going to Florida, I'm going to go to the Magic Kingdom. If I'm going to Kissimmee, I'm going to go to the Magic Kingdom. I'm not going to take one, if I had just one day, I wouldn't spend it in one of the other parks. I'd spend it in the Magic Kingdom because there's the most to do. Has the most nostalgia for me as well, as far as rides and stuff that I grew up with, or that I remember doing. I never, I don't think I really went to Hollywood Studios until I was much older, so I don't really have much nostalgia there. As an adult, though, I agree Epcot is one of the more fun parks. It has some of my favorite rides in it. As far as modern rides I like now. But I think Magic Kingdom would have to be what I would pick for my favorite park. Okay, the next question is your favorite land in the Magic Kingdom. Do you even know all the lands?
You go first.
All right, well, let me tell all the lands just so you can maybe remember. There's Tomorrowland, there's Fantasyland, there's Adventureland, there's Frontierland. Okay? So, if I were to pick my favorite, there's also Liberty Square, which isn't really a land, but it's like a section. I wouldn't call it a land, though. I guess like Main Street USA is maybe considered a land. Anyway, I think that I would have to say Fantasyland just because, well, Fantasyland or Adventureland. Maybe Adventureland because I love the Jungle Cruise. I love Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah, so maybe Adventureland. Adventureland or Fantasyland. What about you?
I'm quite partial to Liberty Square. It has the Hall of Presidents, which was really fun to see. It reopened the second day we got down there for a honeymoon, which was perfect timing, I would say. Other than that, the Muppets are in the same area, and there's a few rides also.
What's the one ride that's there?
I don't. Oh, you're talking about the haunted
mansion.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we went on the Haunted Mansion a few times, which is
three
fun.
times. Yeah.
Which is pretty fun, and I enjoyed it a lot.
I'm a little, like, I know that you love the whole presidential thing, like, history, so I get that why you picked that one. However, I sort of expected you to pick Frontierland.
Why?
Because that's got Splash Mountain and Big Thunder Mountain, which were, like, the two rides that you were a little bit goo-goo over.
I mean, anything with a caution warning and this, that, and the other.
Turn back now. It's okay. This is your last chance to turn back. You might want to turn back now.
Yeah, they're like, you'll even get your fast pass back kind of thing. And I'm just like, I mean, if it's that many warnings, it's got to be good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can see where you're coming from there.
Question number 4. We
Okay.
might need to start speeding up. We're going slow. All right, question number 4 is, what is the first Disney movie you saw in theaters? And I happen to know mine only because I know for a fact it was the first movie I saw at all in a theater. So, and it was a Disney movie, and that was The Little Mermaid. And according to my mother, I didn't do too well. I had to keep getting up and, like, you know, going to the restroom or something like that.
Toy Story, I think. That's the
First one you remember?
That's the first one I remember.
Yeah.
I'm sure that they took me to others, but that doesn't really mean much for remembering it.
Okay.
But I definitely remember that one.
All right. Let's see. Number 5. What type of Disney item do you collect the most? For me, well, for us, mine would have to be pins, but we also collect the pennies together. So I think that either of those, like, I just started collecting pins on this last trip. So, I mean, people were like, oh, how long have you been collecting? And I'm like 5 days, 6 days. I guess I went a little bit crazy. But there were certain ones that, like, I knew I wanted when we were going. So, you know, I made sure to get those. And then, of course, you run into other cute ones. But the pennies, though, I think that was something we both collected.
Yeah, I was going to say the pennies for me because that was something that was different everywhere and it was relatively cheap, and I'd always collected smashed pennies anyways wherever I go.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, and now we have the little book to put them in, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
All right, number 6. Which Disney voice character would you like to meet? And this one was a little bit difficult for me. Oh, I have a delay of 2 hours at school tomorrow. What fun. So a voice actor that I would most like to meet. This one's a little bit difficult just because, like, whenever I think about a Disney character, I don't really think about the person who voices them. Although, in general, I think that we really appreciate voice actors. You know, like, that's like when we're watching shows and stuff, we always want to know, oh, who does his voice? Who does this voice? But with Disney stuff, I'm just so into it, I don't think about it much. That being said, I would probably have to pick Tim Allen just because I think that he's a really funny character. And he does the voice of Buzz Lightyear in Toy Story. So that's who I'd probably pick.
Either him or The Rock, who did, what's his name out of Moana?
Oh, yeah. He did the demigod.
Maui.
Yeah, Maui. Yeah. That'd be cool. Yeah,
But I wouldn't talk to him much about his voice acting as much as his early years in like wrestling.
So not so much the Disney stuff.
Well, I mean, if you're going to have a conversation, it's got to be on more than one topic.
Mm-hmm. True. All right, number 7. What would you consider to be the most underrated Disney movie? I know this like right off the top of my head exactly what I would pick. Do you have one in mind?
You go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to say Robin Hood, without a doubt. I grew up loving that movie. It's almost impossible to find stuff of the characters. So, yeah, I love Robin Hood. The fox, it's the one with the fox, in case you're like, I don't know the Robin Hood you're talking about.
Well, Saving Mr. Banks would be the live action one that I would say is very underrated.
I wasn't even thinking live action.
And the reason I say that is because the lady who plays the character of the author,
I believe it's Emma Thompson.
Something like that. But anyways, whoever plays her did such a great job because it was cringeworthy throughout the entire movie. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, it's just one of those, you got to think.
She was that good of an actress.
Yeah, she did a great job at being a terrible person. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of appreciation to be put there.
All right, number 8, favorite Disney hotel. We've only stayed at one official Disney hotel. The other time that we went, we stayed at an on-site hotel, Holiday Inn Express or something like that. We enjoyed that one because we could literally walk to Disney Springs, which is pretty awesome. The hotel that we stayed at on our honeymoon was the Disney All-Star Sports. I mean, I wouldn't consider it my favorite Disney hotel. If I were to pick a favorite Disney hotel, it'd be one that we just went and ate at, not one that we actually stayed at, and that would be the Grand Floridian. That place is just so amazingly beautiful. What about you? We did a few like resort hopping, so like we saw.
I agree with you. I would like to say that I've stayed in something else, but with that said, though, I have a great amount of appreciation for All-Star Sports, and the reason why is because the price allowed us to be there for a very long time, and that was really good.
Yeah. All right. Next one, our favorite ride. So what is your favorite ride in any of the parks? If you just pick one.
I'd say Splash Mountain.
Splash Mountain. If I were to just pick one, it's so hard because for me, nostalgia just runs so deep, right? Like, nostalgia for me is king. So I think that if I were to pick just one, I might have to pick Pirates of the Caribbean because it's one that, like, everybody in your whole family can ride together and everybody can ride it. Like, there's no restrictions or any of that. Everyone can ride it together. So, and, you know, it has, like, that one little drop, you know, which makes it a little bit more than just a boat ride, you know. That being said, they are changing it, and our next time it will be different the next time that we go.
Yeah, but they're not changing the actual ride. They're changing the attractions.
They're changing the one scene. The We Once the Redhead scene is being changed. But it'll be interesting to see what it's like. The next one I know that you're going to be very passionate about, and that is what your least favorite ride is.
What was the name of the thing where...
Navi River Journey.
Well, that wasn't the one that I was
that wasn't the one that you were thinking of?
But
that's the one that you complained about the most.
That's because we had 3 fast passes for it, and quite frankly...
Okay, 2 fast passes, but yes.
I canceled one.
Yeah. We only rode it one time.
Yeah. But, I mean, I'm sure it was, you know, interesting, but anything more could make it better.
Yeah. I was a little disappointed. Like, I thought, like, the effects and stuff were cool, but, like, give me a single drop, give me 2 drops, like, you know, have us get away from one of the bad guys, you know, have there be some turns or like some spinning or something, you know, like I really
Make it like the dinosaur
yeah.
ride, because that
Yeah,
say what you
Dinosaur
will,
Ride.
it's old, but it's good.
Yeah,
It's fun.
I enjoyed Dinosaur. But so, what was the one that you were thinking of then? If it wasn't that,
What was
because
the-
you
what
were
was-
so passionate about hating that one.
What was the one where I almost crushed that kid?
Oh, Primeval World.
Yeah, I felt so bad because, you know, I'm kind of a hefty, husky guy, and it was just a little teenager, little
Yeah.
thing sitting beside me.
So
and
he was a single rider, and since we were just a couple, they had us all ride together, and it made it a little bit awkward. Plus, that's just not a fun ride, and he had never been on a ride like that before, and I told him, I was like, look, we'll ride it this one time, but this type of ride, like, jerks you around. Like, it's not fun. It jerks you around, it spins you. He learned the hard way, and we won't ride it again. So, anyway. The next one, oh, your favorite show at the parks. Well, I guess I know yours.
we'll go ahead and tell what mine is.
I'm assuming that you would say the Hall of Presidents.
It's between the Hall of Presidents and the Mickey Mouse with the orchestra.
Oh, PhilharMagic.
Yeah, that one.
Okay. I want to say Nemo, maybe. I
That
really
was-
enjoyed Nemo. I wish that there was like maybe more bubbles, like a little bit more, just a little bit more like where they're out in the audience. Like they had like maybe like 2 times where they all came out into the audience and did things. I sort of liked the grand finale. Maybe if that happened a little bit more often. Also, I mean, shows though, if you consider Rivers of Light, like I loved Rivers of Light.
Yeah.
I guess you could consider that a show. One thing that we didn't do last time, which is probably like, you know, a sin, is we did not do what's it called? Phantasmic. So next time we go, we probably really need to try and do that. It's like the nighttime show at
Okay.
Hollywood Studios. So yeah, we should probably do that next time because I have a feeling that might be our favorite.
Okay.
Next one, favorite attraction that is no longer at the parks. I have an answer for this because I wrote it as a child, and that would be Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. That was like me and my dad's like favorite ride. And I remember like, you know, parts of it. I don't remember like the whole thing. Like I don't like, it wasn't like an intense ride or anything. It was just like one of those dark rides, sort of like Winnie the Pooh. And I want to say that Winnie the Pooh is what is in the spot that it used to be at, if I'm not mistaken. Like they used that same area. But yeah, that would definitely be it. Do you have any ideas?
I don't have an answer for that
Yeah.
one because I've only been twice, and it's not like they changed
Yeah.
it all that much. in
Yeah,
that
like
little
there
time.
might be 1 or 2 things that have closed, but they're gonna like reopen or whatever. So
Yeah. Next question.
all right. Let's see. Monorail or ferry? You know my answer to this.
I'll take the monorail. You know, despite the controversy and such here recently, say what you will about it, there's only so much the ferry's able to do, and the ferries are slow, whereas the monorail is fast and easy. So, I mean, if they have to repair for, you know, a couple of months, it is what it is. They'll probably end up doing that during some of the slower months and then move on.
Okay. Well, I prefer the ferries because the monorails freak me out. But unfortunately, whenever you go and you're staying on property, the monorail is basically your only choice. You don't really have a choice of taking the ferry because the ferry is specific to going to the transportation ticket center. So you'd have to drive there and then take the ferry to Magic Kingdom. So that's sort of silly. But I prefer the ferries. And the first time we went, that's how we got into the park, was we took the ferry.
Yep.
All right, saddest moment in a Disney film. You know that there's a million because, like...
Yeah, every Disney film has a sad
has that moment that
moment.
makes you cry.
I don't know. because there's at least one good sad point in every movie. So
Yeah.
to put my thumb on the one that made me most sad, I would probably say it's Up, like the first 5 minutes of Up, because I never actually finished that film.
That's what I would pick too, simply because, I don't know, like it's so real, you know, that part of it is so real. Yeah, so I think I'd probably pick Up. But I mean, every single Disney movie has a very sad moment.
Yeah.
Bambi's mom, everybody else's mom, a few people's dads, you know.
Next question.
All right. Before we start to cry, who is your favorite Disney villain? I personally do not like Disney villains. Like, I'm not a villain type of person. What would you say? Like, my mom, she loves the Disney villains.
Who's the, like, and this is probably because we watched Hercules here recently, but
Hades?
I'd probably say Hades. Either that or we also watched Moana here lately, and the volcano creature that ended up being the good guy somehow.
Yeah.
That one would probably be, because that, and I say that because it was a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Hades, he was just a smooth talking, and he made some good jokes.
If I were to say one in a way, it would probably be Maleficent, but more because of the live action movie and less because of the original movie. So the original movie, like, she's evil, that's it. But then, like, in Maleficent, you're like, well, wait a minute. You know, she had a reason behind what she did, you know, that type of thing. So I would probably have to say Maleficent. All right, the next question is, who's your favorite Disney princess and prince?
You know I don't know these as well as you do.
Yeah, but I'm sure you have some favorites. You'd be thinking while I talk about mine. I basically have two. And they're because they're the ones that I grew up, like growing up, Aurora and Prince Philip, they were my favorite because I had the long blonde hair, and my brother, he like loved Prince Philip, so, you know, like, because he was the cool sword fighting, like he was like the only prince that ever actually did anything, you know, like, so we grew up really liking that one. Now, as an adult, like whenever I was older, Tangled came out. And so now I'd probably have to say Rapunzel's probably my favorite princess, simply because she's got the really long blonde hair and she hits people over the head with a frying pan. And as my father says, that it reminds him of me. She reminds him of me. So
I'm going to make you really happy right now. So, I would say Robin Hood and Maid Marian.
oh, look at him.
Princess. I do know you.
You do know me. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do love them too.
All right, next question.
All right, next question. If you could live in any world from a Disney film, which would you choose? Oh, wow. Huh.
Not Up.
Yeah, not Up. WALL-E be a really difficult world to live in. You'd be starting the world all over again. That's a difficult one. I've never thought about that. It might be something maybe more from one of the live action movies, like, you know, Mary Poppins. That was, like, amazing.
I wouldn't mind Toy Story in so much that it just allowed me to relive childhood.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't think of anything too good for that other than, like, you know, maybe a Mary Poppins. Any of the worlds where they sing all the time. Like, what's that called? Enchanted? Yeah, Enchanted, where they sing all the time. That was pretty funny. Be a fun world to live in. All right, let's say, it says, this is the last one. If you could say anything to Walt Disney now, what would it be? I can't think of anything profound right off the top of my head. What about you?
Honestly, just, thank you.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, think about it this way. Millions of kids love his characters. On top of that, he hired people that love the same things that he offered these kids. So, through him, we got a bunch of characters that we know and love. He took essentially the Grimm Brothers books and made them American,
Child friendly.
yeah, child friendly, American child friendly, and he made lands where you can go and experience these things, and everyone said that no one would want to go to a land based off of a bunch of movies. They told them no one would want to watch an hour and a half cartoon. No one would watch these shorts. No one would do this, that, and the other. And he just kept doing it, and there was a market for it.
But anyway, that does it for our Disney tag. And we will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.